Gen 205 students, welcome to the Unit 6 step-by-step overview for our class Gender and Justice. So Unit 6, we only have 7 and 8 after this. We are really in the home stretch. So let's go take a look at Blackboard together, and I will walk you through step-by-step what to do for this unit. As I did with the last unit and will continue to do, I'm going to separate out the videos so that you will actually have So you'll have a video that does the step-by-step guide, and then a separate video that is for content. In my other course, I got a lot of feedback about this, and so some students, really get the step-by-step. You are on it, you understand it, it clicks for you, but you still really want that content information from me to help give context for the themes and theories and concepts that you're going to be reading about and listening to and hearing about. And so for you, you can skip this and just go down to that video that's in task 3. But for everyone else, please do continue and hang out with me here as we do a step-by-step guide, and then also check out the video in task 3 for that depth of content and that depth of knowledge to help you make sense of what it is that you're reading and learning. This is our Gender and Justice homepage with everything you need. Here on the homepage, scrolling down, you see that unit number 6 is now opened. It runs from November 1st through the 12th, and it's a focus on sex worker rights as a feminist issue, and sex worker rights as a feminist abolitionism issue. There's 4 tasks, and then an additional infographic from me to help you make sense of some of this, because this is a little bit more of a confusing unit, I would say. So this video will be right here, okay? Again, we're continuing to talk about the impacts of a highly carceral state, the ways in which the United States incarcerates at incredibly high rates, how the criminal justice system is embedded with racist, sexist, transphobic, homophobic ways of engagement, right? And really how the criminal justice system is the quote-unquote new Jim Crow, right? It's the continuation of racialized forms of social control in the United States. This unit is focusing specifically on sex workers, people who engage in the sale of sex, often in exchange for money, sometimes goods, place to stay, food, whatever it might be. I myself am a sex worker rights scholar, so this is part of my area of expertise. And one thing that makes this area pretty difficult in terms of research and advocacy is that we tend not to hear from sex workers or believe sex workers. We tend to hear more from sex trafficking victims rather than people who are engaging in the sale of sex, partially because it's criminalized. Gender justice advocates have long pointed out that we don't hear about women's experiences of police brutality or imprisonment, particularly trans women. And sex workers as a specific gendered group, many sex workers are cisgender women and transgender women, but there's also gender non-binary people who engage in sex work. There's cisgender men who engage in sexual labor as well. But it tends to be cisgender and transgender women, particularly of color, who either are sex workers or are assumed to be sex workers, who are heavily policed. They're hurt and killed, oftentimes by police, and they're very marginalized within the United States. People make assumptions that the job is dangerous, but sex workers themselves report that really who they fear are the police. And there's a lot of data that confirms that police physically and sexually assault sex workers and people that they think are sex workers very regularly. So this is an example of an institutionalized violence, right? Because if you're assaulted by a police officer, you have no one to report to. You'll watch this video here. Again, this is a 2-week unit, so plan out your days, right? You'll have something due this first week, you'll have something due the second week. Make sure that you're planning out chunks of time to let your brain digest this information. Task 2, you're going to continue to analyze your organization. We're getting very close to the end here. And so you'll click through to your discussion board. For example, here I am in Girls for Gender Equity, Inc. And you'll click on the Unit 6 thread. And here's what I want you to do for this one. There's 2 questions. 1, define abolitionism, right? Give me your definition of abolitionism. You can do that with a reading, and I actually kind of suggest that you do, and do so as a quote. Don't try to paraphrase, it can be a little tricky. So I suggest quoting in order to avoid plagiarism. So give some thought. You can go to any reading, a reading from this particular unit, a reading from a past unit. What is abolitionism, right? As plain and clear and simple as you can, right? I've been asking you to articulate the differences between abolition and reform. Here, I just want you to tell me, what is abolitionism? What are they fighting for? What does abolitionism look like? What would that entail? Is it a process? Is it is it a noun or a verb? However you want to interpret this. But give that clear definition of abolitionism. Then I want you to answer a question: what makes your organization here, looking at Girls for Gender Equity, what makes your organization a feminist abolitionist organization? And 2 to 5 sentences here should suffice. So this particular thread is a little tricky because, as always, you cannot repeat what the other peers in your group have already written, which means that you're going to end up with, 4, 5, or 6 definitions of abolitionism that are all different because you can't repeat what somebody else already wrote. You're going to end up with, depending on the number of people in your group, 4, 5, or 6 ways of understanding how your organization is an abolitionist organization. So you're building all this knowledge about your organization because in another couple weeks, you're actually going to start to prepare your Google Slides that will be shared with your classmates. So you will be teaching your classmates in an asynchronous way, right? So there's no, time where we have to all be on at the same time. But this way, you get to learn about the other organizations that you were not assigned to study this semester. As always, I suggest that you complete the discussion board by the end of the first week, so around November 5th. But, feel free to take till the following Monday if you need to. So around the 8th, sometime between the 5th and 8th would be great. I always set it on Blackboard to the 5th, so it kicks out that reminder if you haven't done it yet, like, oh, you're missing this assignment. But remember, there's no points off for that. Task 3 has everything I want you to read, watch, and hear, and we'll do a content video here to go over in a little bit more depth what it is you're going to be learning about. As you can see, there's several readings. There's an optional watch, although I do encourage you to watch that. And an optional listen, which is about an hour, so decide if you feel you have the time for that. And then everything else here in the middle. Once you have completed it, then you'll conduct your quick facts check-in to see, did you get the main points? If not, go back and fix those questions, right? One thing that I want to bring to your attention in this unit, and this is going to be confusing, is that abolition as a word isn't always used in the same way as different people use it. So most people in the U.S., academics, activists, when we hear the word abolition, we think of racial justice abolition. We think of the efforts to abolish slavery. We think of the efforts today to end mass incarceration, police brutality, over-policing. What's interesting is that in the world of sex worker rights and sex trafficking scholarship and activism, some people will say, we want to abolish prostitution in order to keep women and girls safe. Now, this gets really weird and confusing because those people who want to abolish prostitution are doing so by calling for more police and more policing, for more laws, and there's been hundreds of new laws passed around sex trafficking over the past 20 years across the United States that are used to police and arrest and imprison people who are engaging in the sale of sex. So it's really the exact opposite of the anti-racist abolitionism we've been learning about. So to help you as you read through this, I created a chart to just help explain these two differences. So prison abolitionists, racial justice abolitionists, Black Lives Matter, who we've been studying, their efforts all semester, sex work and sex worker rights right now in this unit, right? I've done a comparison between them and prostitution abolitionists who want to abolish prostitution, who want to end the demand for prostitution, in terms of their policy approach, who is doing the enslavement, the role of the nation state, and the type of critique. I'll further explain this in the other video, but I wanted to go ahead and let you know that this was here, so that you knew you could use it as a guide as you are reading and watching and taking notes. Okay, so that is it for the unit number 6, quick step-by-step guide of what to do for this particular unit. Again, we are in the last stretch of the semester, so if you have any questions or concerns, please reach out. I'm here to help you. I'm here to support you. I want to make sure that everything is clear as we enter really the last month and a half together. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you online.